So have you ever woken up from a nightmare so terrified that you feel like you're not alone in the room, let alone alone in your own head? It's said that ghosts can haunt cemeteries, locations and houses. But there's stories littered through history of people being haunted in their dreams so much that they go mad. Now in today's video we're going to dive into that history. Not of course the ones that I've grown up with, like the dream ghosts that visited Dan Aykroyd in one of my favourite films, Ghostbusters, or of course obviously the horror that I grew up with, which is Nightmare on Elm Street, which is primarily all about Freddy. Now that certainly terrified me until it got to about number 3 where it all fell apart. But we're going to dive into the history to see if you have been visited yourself. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Rod, and I'm actually one member of the Spooky Squad here at Solve the Spooky, along with my 2 sons, Caleb and Samuel, and Casey, our producer, editor, and our ghost whisperer. We dive into those spooky mysteries buried in history. Imagine merging Scooby-Doo with the History Channel and sprinkling along some paranormal, and you've got us. So if you're interested, do hit that subscribe button because we would love to have you part of the Spooky Squad. Of course, today's video we're diving into the ghosts that haunt people's dreams. And as I said, it starts with Freddy, who obviously have to say kept me awake many a night when I was young, when I'd watch those movies. But where did this terror or this story all begin? That leads us into our very first ghost, which funny enough is where the word nightmare came from. Now the first ghost is the night hag, or Mara. She comes from Northern European folklore. She was said to appear as a pale woman, sometimes faceless with tangled hair. She would sit on people's chests as they slept. She would steal their breath and fill their dreams full of terror. People would wake up screaming, where that fear would continue long after they wake up. So if you ever wake up with a sore chest, out of breath or fear, you know Mara may have popped in for a visit. Our next ghost is Filja. Now the Norsemen said that she was a dream visitor and not always evil like Mara. She was more of a, I suppose, prophecy. She would appear as a woman or sometimes your double. And if you saw her before a battle, she is telling you that there is a doom coming your way. I have to admit, if I was ever visited by myself and I was told something was coming, I think I'd probably listen. Our next ghost is Yuri from Japan, or the Weeping Woman. She's a restless spirit and she appears as a woman with long dark hair. She's always crying and she's dressed in her white burial robes. She's primarily there for people who have either wronged her or actually dishonoured her. And she drags you down into her own sorrow. It becomes encompassing, so when you wake up, you could be crying and you don't know why. I have to admit, I've never woke up crying before. I've woken up screaming, but not crying. So thankfully, the Weeping Woman hasn't paid me a visit. At least not yet. Our fourth ghost is the Virgin Ghost from Korea. She was a woman who was unmarried, unfulfilled, and died tragically. She visits people in her ghost and actually represents the breaking of tradition and drags people down into her sorrow. She drags them in and she actually infects their dreams so badly that people wake up terrified. The one thing is though, is when she visits once, she comes back again and again, where family members have even held rituals to try and convince her not to infect their dreams. And the only question remains, if you kept dreaming of this virgin ghost, would you go back to sleep? The last ghost we've got to talk about is the Kings and Queen ghost that visited these people of high power to remind them of their bad deeds. Many queens and kings reported of a lot of their rivals visiting them at night. For example, Emperor Wu said that a lot of her bloodied rivals used to visit her in her dreams, sit next to her and whisper to her while she slept. Even in England, Anne Boleyn's headless corpse used to ride around and talking about pending doom. It would seem that all of these kings and queens were able to hold on to their thrones, but they also held on to the ghosts that came with that power. It would seem that power doesn't stop your dreams from being infected by the ghosts of your past. So can ghosts actually haunt your dreams? Well, what we can see, obviously, is that people's past can definitely haunt their dreams of the present. But what about all of those faces and stories in the past? What about the Freddy Kruegers? And what about the ghost of Ghostbusters? Can that actually happen? Now, of course, obviously, now that you know all the different names of the ghosts, have you had these visit your dreams? Or have you had a different ghost visit you and do something different? Please do me a favour, leave your stories in the comments because we love engaging with all of the Spooky Squad. Because over the last 9 months since we started this paranormal investigating, we've had things happen to us that I can't explain.
There's nothing there.
That's the people. There's no one out there, by the way, everyone.
It hasn't gone into our dreams yet, not at least yet, but we've had some freaky things happen. For example, if you want to see us sleep over at a haunted prison, I'll leave the video just here. If you want to see us find out from Ned Kelly's ghost where his lost skull is, I'll leave the video here. As always, stay spooky, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next adventure.